The list of things that make Belgium famous is pretty long, and beer is close to the top of it. For anyone who likes a cold brew, a tasting in Belgium is a must-stop. There are approximately 125 breweries in Belgium, and they produce over 650 different beers. But where should you start when trying out Belgian beers? I say the Lambic. It's a traditional Belgian beer that comes in all sorts of styles. One of these is exposed to over 300 grams of cherries per liter, so it's got a pretty sweet taste. The other tastes range from very different to pretty recognizable, but definitely distinct. Beer is an art in Belgium.
Well, you know what we ought to do? We actually ought to go and not just taste it, we actually ought to go get some of the background on some of these Belgian beers.
The Cantillon brewery in Brussels has been in business since 1900 and brews 9 distinct beers, many of these even using local fruits as well as flowers to make a fragrant, sweet, colorful brew. Of course, anyone can buy the beers here, but the real treat is learning what about the brewing process makes Belgian beers so unique.
So you get to drink this stuff, right? It's kind of cool to actually come in and check out how it's made, right? Well, first thing they do is they take the grains and they mill them above us right here. And then they've been doing this mashing since about 1920. The brewery goes back to 1900, but the mashing process takes place in here. It's about a 3 or 4 hour process. After the grains are mashed, they then run liquid through them and pump that liquid upstairs to another vat, and I'm going to show you that and tell you what happens then. All right, so you have the mashing process, and then you have the boiling process. That takes place up here. 3 to 4 hour process. They add the hops right here. And after that 3 to 4 hour process, it's pumped upstairs. And that's really where the magic begins and what makes Belgian beer unique. You saw where it was boiled. Here's where it ends up at the end of the day. At 103 degrees, it comes into this large copper tub, which is very low profile to allow a lot of exposure to the air. Because the way this building is built, it has these slats, which allows the air itself to come in. Why is the air important? That's where the yeast is. So this is a completely natural process where the yeast interacts with the liquid in the process of forming the beer.
The natural process is unique, especially when you compare it to how traditional ales and lagers are fermented with very particular yeast. What's the next stop for a Belgian beer? Let's find out in the barrel room.
Hey, Alberto.
Hello.
All right, so we've gone from the big copper tub to the barrels.
Yes.
Tell us the process.
So once it's cooled down, we pump it into the barrels, and here it will start its fermentation process.
It might look like a wine cellar, but this barrel room is full of beer. Here, the Cantillon brews rest for years. During that time, fresh whole fruits like raspberries, apples, and even cherries are added to the barrels to create strong and distinct flavors. After that, the beers are actually strained, left to sit a little longer, and then sent into the world for beer lovers everywhere to enjoy. And isn't this the point of the entire process? I mean, I love learning about the beer, but there's nothing quite like sitting back and sipping one.